Okay, testing. And it looks like we're good. Okay, time to start off the new season in style. Hello, everybody. My name is StupidFlander48, and welcome for the first time this year, well, not this year, but this season, to Breakout Racing League Racing. Yes, today it is the start of Season 6, the long-awaited moment, where we get to dust off our wheels and controllers again and go back at it once again. And it looks like we've already got some activity in the chat. HRT Heatwave, hello. UFR Grand, how is it going? The Henchman 21, thank you very much for joining us so early. And we already have a couple new followers, which are HRT Heatwave and F1 OTS Bailey, so shout-outs to both of you. And you'll notice, and it looks like my party's encountered an error. Hold on a minute. Much better. Okay, and you'll notice we've got a nice new stream overlay. This is something that's pretty new. It actually just got finished today, so apologies if it is a little clunky for the first time out. Will be refined over the course of the weekend and the season. And Lil Young Q-Man has put in a follow to the stream, so thank you very much. We've already got plenty of action here before even the start of qualifying. Anyway, we've got some cars on outlaps here. Judging by the map, it looks like it's going to be not Voj26, his teammate, number 1 FinFan72. He's going to be our very first qualifying lap of this new season here in Realistic Tier. We're going to be doing full qualifying, so this is not the only qualifying session we'll have. And realistic car performance, so don't expect the Haas's to be up there with Mercedes and Red Bulls, etc. So we're going to use FinFan's lap to take a little tour of the secure circuit. Turn 1, heavy braking zone, hairpin after the DRS zone. Very nice overtaking spot. Turn 2, out of turn 3. Very tricky traction zone onto this next DRS straight. And that's almost all the first sector gone already. Going speedily into turn number 4 now. Tricky off-camber right-hander, usually taken in third gear. And now going into the technical middle sector. Purple sector 1, obviously, because he is the first person to have set a time in that particular part of the track. Into turn 8, heavy second gear braking zone. Very susceptible to lockups because of its downhill nature. Now up the crest again and down to the most feared corners on all the circuit in Bahrain. Turns 9 and 10. Looks like he navigated it pretty well, although taking a little bit of curb. And now down the back straight, the third DRS zone on the track, and the final one at that. And into turn number 11. Tricky left-hander. We'll switch to onboard cam here. Fifth gear. Powering out now. And it looks quite a lot like my party has not only glitched out again, but decent lap so far from FinFan, but of course it's going to be hard to tell considering every car is different in this performance setting. So don't expect a super hot lap like a 125 or 26. Those will be reserved for the top cars. And it's going to be a 1 minute 27.387. Honestly, by Haas standards, that is pretty dang good. Got a Renault coming across the line now. It's BRL Ardell in the Renault. More glitches, wonderful. Who immediately sets a time of 127.5. He's not going to be happy with that. 2/10 behind a slower car. And BRL Neymar in the AlphaTauri, already making a statement. One of our Tier 1 drivers. The 126.991. That's a 127 flat effectively, which is going to put him on provisional pole position. Although pole position will not be decided in Q1. Let me just take a moment to explain how the format works here in Realistic Tier. So we've got full qualifying. There's a Q1 session, 18 minutes at the very start. And that determines who the top 15 will be. So the bottom 4, actually, because it's a 19-car grid, the bottom 4 from this session will be out of qualifying entirely, and their grid positions will be set. Then we'll go on to Q2, which is a slightly shorter session, 15 minutes, as Heikatra and the Williams predictably sets a slow time of 128.4. And then the top 10 cars from Q2 will go on to Q3, the final session where pole position will in fact be handed out. So expect Haas, Williams, Alfa Romeo, maybe even AlphaTauri fighting just to get out of Q1, while others, such as the Mercs, the Ferraris, and probably the McLarens as well, they probably won't be too worried about their positions until Q3 because they are some of the faster cars out there. And then the race, of course, is going to be a standard 50% length race. With that's going to be 29 laps, I believe. Yeah, 29 around the secure circuit. Really great track. Too bad that we don't have the outer layout on this game, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would make for a really great season-opening doubleheader. But hey, we've still got an excellent track here to work with. See some more people appearing in the chat, including one of the league co-owners, BRL Skeppy, with plenty of Craigasm emotes to go around for everybody, it seems. Unknown Ute 25 in the Alfa Romeo car. Sets the slowest time of 129.8. He'll be looking to improve on that. The Alfa Romeo is objectively faster than the Haas and the Williams in this game, even after the performance patch that took place towards the end of last year. Neymar looks like he's on an in-lap. Let's switch to somebody who looks to be finishing out a flying lap. One of the McLarens. TTM Stenner in the McLaren. Goes across the line, and it's second place. Not too bad, 126.6, but just short. Actually, a full second short of Boss Cookie, who's also just set a time in the Racing Point car of a 125.6. Actually, before the performance patch back in November, I believe it was, the Racing Point and the McLaren cars were quite even on pace. But the performance patch buffed the Racing Point quite a bit because, let's face it, it is an objectively better car, at least when it comes to all-out 100% push. SSR Zampa, Stenner's teammate in the other McLaren, sets a 127.4. Ooh, that won't look too good. Keep in mind, realistic tier, unlike other BRL racing tiers, is managed. Every team has its own manager that selects its drivers for the season, and that means performance is going to be more important than ever relative to your teammate for these drivers relative to those in the mainline tiers, where teams in the Constructors' Championship isn't really as a coherent of a thing. So Zampa's on a slow lap. Let's go to where the action is. The two Mercedes cars. Meanfern and Joe, Joe F1 comes across line for provisional pole, 125.457, 2/10 faster than Cookie. I'm sure he can get a little more out of that car, since the Mercedes is definitely 2/10 faster than the pink Mercedes, more than 2/10 faster rather. Meanfern in P5 as well with 126.8. He'll be looking to improve on that. ARS Science putting in a time in the Ferrari of a 126.8. So many times coming in here I can barely keep up. Looks like Feta Cheese in the Renault car is going to be starting his first lap. One of our Tier 2 drivers, I believe, at least from last season. Xeno Kid saying, and yet McLaren got P3 in Constructors' Championship, so sucks for Racing Point. Yeah, of course, even though Racing Point technically had a faster car for most of the real-life 2020 season, McLaren did get that third place in the Constructors' Championship, which was quite important for them. As you can imagine, his Unknown Ute looks to be improving quite a bit on his last time in the middle sector. About a half a second up through the middle sector split. What's it going to be across the line? 125.1. A significant improvement, but he's still 7/10 behind Katra in the slower Williams car. He's got to figure something out, or he's going to be out in Q1 pretty quickly. Or BRL Ardell, one of our first time setters, is on the same set of soft compound tires from the looks of it, and he's coming into the pit lane. Thought he might be finishing a lap there, but no. Meanfern deciding to do back-to-back laps here, and he improved by 8/10, almost 9. 125.950. Definitely a lot better than his first time. That puts him up to P3, but still behind the pink Mercedes and Boss Cookie. He seems to have a pretty impressive initial qualifying time. There's a Haas coming up to the line now. I believe that's going to be Vojay to start his lap. No, it's FinFan coming into the... Oh, yeah, it is Vojay. Okay. And Cookie's out, actually. Cookie is just retired from Q1. That is actually a pretty common phenomenon. Yeah. So, basically, some people will retire early from qualifying sessions because, they want to save tires and they're happy with their lap time. They're far enough up the leaderboard that they don't have to worry about elimination. So that's what Cookie is showing for us there, quite conveniently. Eris Science coming up to the line now, but he is on an in-lap, so we'll just switch away from him. One of the Red Bulls coming up as well to the start-finish line, but that's Ritzy Raccoon in the Red Bull car, in the number 83, as his name suggests. And he's just starting a lap, so we'll come back to him pretty soon. One of the Alfa Romeos coming across the line. Actually, there's only one Alfa Romeo today, Unknown Ute, and he's coming into the pit lane. Not sure who the other Alfa Romeo driver is. I'll check the realistic driver lineup as it's listed on our Discord server, which you guys should totally join, by the way, if you haven't already. I suppose we could just stay with Ritzy Raccoon here for his flying lap. The Red Bull is the second fastest car in the F1 2020 game, and by some margin. So Ritzy should have absolutely no problems here getting out of the first section of qualifying. Right now, pretty clear cut line is forming between people who have set times and people who haven't. Purple first sector there for the Raccoon. So he seems to be going pretty well so far. But yeah, Unknown Ute looks to be in position for elimination in Q1 right now. And considering Zizou, Taylor Clan, and Ritzy Raccoon are all in very fast cars, I suspect they'll all get out of the session. So right now, effectively, the drop zone is Feta Cheese, Katra, Vojay, and Unknown Ute in the Renault, Williams, Haas, and Alfa Romeo, respectively. Purple medal sector for Ritzy Raccoon. Could he unseat Joe in the Mercedes? Could he steal provisional pole, or P1, I suppose, in a slower car? Let's find out. The Red Bull is almost on par with the Mercedes at this track. We did see Max Verstappen put up a decent fight against Lewis Hamilton in the Bahrain Grand Prix, at least on pace, perhaps not on track. And Ritzy goes third. He lost something in Sector 3 there, but 125.8. In the end, he's actually 4/10 off the pole time. Not sure if he made a major mistake there. I couldn't see one happening from my angle, but of course the driver always knows more than what the commentator could ever divine when he's in the car. Era Zizou coming up to the line now to set his first flying time. It's a 127.2. Not very good by racing point standards when you consider how high up his teammate is, but it looks to be enough to safely get him out of Q1 for the moment at least. There's an AlphaTauri stranded on the back straight. That looks to be BRL Neymar. I believe he was just getting out of the way of his teammate Deer Hunter, who we haven't covered so far, but he's currently sitting in a provisional 8th place. Deer Hunter, one of the faster guys in our league. Tier 1 driver from last season. I'm not actually sure if he's been placed there again this season. And as I was saying previously, the second Alfa Romeo driver that was supposed to be here today but couldn't be was Mitchie950, who will unfortunately miss the race today. Too bad. You never want to miss the season opener. You always want to start things off on the right foot. But everyone has a life. No one can make it to every single race. Joe F1 retires. I doubt he'll be able to improve on that blistering time of a 125.4. And he doesn't really have a reason to either, considering he's currently sitting at the top of the leaderboard. Zizou on an in-lap. Vojay looks to be on a flying lap. We'll come back to him. Taylor Clan in the Red Bull, the only car left who has not set a flying lap time yet. Currently thundering through the middle sector and into the third sector. Purple second sector according to the game's timing, but of course the game's timing can lie to you sometimes. Now down to the final corner. We're going to go on board for this last portion of the lap, doing the esports line into the final corner where he put two wheels on or past the outside curb on entry. And up to the line, it's going to be a 125.7, just beating out his teammate Ritzy. And it looks like it's going to be a Red Bull 3 and 4 here for this first qualifying session of the night. Let's check chat real quick. Xeno Kid saying Honda engine weighing him down low. I wouldn't be surprised. The Honda engine is markedly inferior to the Mercedes one, at least in 2020. Not sure if that'll change in 21, which will be Honda's last year in the sport, by the way, as an official engine manufacturer, at least for the time being. Let's see, who's on a flyer right now other than Taylor? Although Taylor might be on an in-lap at this point, since he did just finish a flying lap. Ritzy looks to be on an in-lap. Feta Cheese on an out-lap. Thought he was on a flyer maybe, but turns out he isn't. Vojay into the pits. Anybody at all? Doesn't look like it. SSR Zampa on an out-lap. I don't suspect Taylor is going to go straight into another lap. Oh, he is. He is. Hold on a minute. Taylor Clan, let's go back to him. Couldn't improve his... Oh, that was Ritzy coming across the line. What am I saying? Ritzy improves his time. Sorry, I'm a little rusty, folks. But Ritzy Raccoon comes across the line for the second straight flying lap and improves his lap time to 125.778, which, as you can see, is only 3 milliseconds ahead of his Red Bull teammate. I gotta say, the Red Bull manager will probably be quite happy that his two drivers are this close. It's always great when you pick a competitive pairing. It's certainly something that Red Bull in real life has struggled to do. But in the meantime, the lap times continue to roll in. I apologize for my old-fashioned method of scrolling through the leaderboard, but the spectator menu glitched relatively early on. FinFan just starting a lap in the Haas. Zampa just starting a lap in the McLaren, and it looks like Unknown Ute's going to be starting a lap in the Alfa Romeo as well. Costa Plays Games is in the chat now. Says hi. Hi back to you. Welcome to BRL. Make sure to follow if you haven't already and join our Discord server, which I will actually put in now. Just a quick reminder, anybody who hasn't joined already, and Taylor Clan retires from the session, he will not be able to rise to his teammate's challenge. I suppose it doesn't really matter since this is Q1. Just because Ritzy is third on the leaderboard right now doesn't mean he'll start third in the race because, again, because of how full qualifying works, as I explained earlier on in the stream. Let's see who's coming up to the line now. Ritzy into the pit lane. An AlphaTauri behind him. It looks to be BRL Neymar, who's actually on an out lap. So he'll start his flying lap now, and it looks like he could get one, maybe two more laps in if he really pushes it. If he wanted to, that is. Feta Cheese about to finish a flying lap, it looks like, and he's about half a second down through the middle sector. Lap data on the top right shows. And he goes 6/10 quicker than his previous time. And that gets him out of the elimination zone, actually. That's extremely important because that'll allow him to get through to Q2, I think. Unless someone behind him can really put in the effort. And, well, that's one way to retire from the session when you're happy with your time. And Zampa, hold on, SSR Zampa springs up from 15th to 9th, so he's going to be safe into Q2. Who else is going to go in? Unknown Ute. He's about to finish his lap. And he improves again by another half second. Okay. Unknown Ute, most improved driver throughout Q1, but he's still going to be starting dead last, unfortunately for him. Hey Katra now just starting a lap in the Williams. BRL Ardell just starting a lap in the Renault. The second Renault, that is. And Haas coming up to the line. I believe that's going to be Vojay. And yes, he's just starting a lap as well. So the final round here in Q1, it's going to be crunch time for the two Williams cars as well as Vojay and Unknown Ute. See if they can make a last-ditch effort to try and get out of that drop zone below 15th place. Right now the driver in danger is Feta Cheese, who cannot respond to any threats that might come to him because he just crashed himself out of the session. I'm guessing intentionally. Neymar's invalidated his lap time, so he's going to be stuck in 13th, but I think that is relatively safe considering there aren't too many guys behind him that are in a position to overtake. Eris Science retires from 8th place, probably a good move. Now Deer Hunter coming up to the line to start his final flying lap. St. Kiswato coming in up to the line to start his final lap as well. Neymar will not settle lap time with that one. Let's see who's next. FinFan. Number one FinFan is coming up to the line now, but I don't suspect his time will be too consequential, considering he is pretty safe into Q2, unlike his teammate Vojay. We got a Williams coming up to the line now. It's going to be Katra first to the line. Ooh, he's up by almost 8/10 through the middle sector. How much more has he gained in the third, or has he lost time? Let's find out. And he's into 14th. 1:27.3. That's an excellent time. BRL Ardell's now the man in danger, and Ardell leaps up to 10th place, so he's going to knock Feta Cheese, his teammate, down into the bottom 5. Unknown Ute can't improve on his previous time, so he's out. Vojay improves his time, but not enough to gain a position. Oof. And that's just one of 3 qualifying sessions that we'll have today, folks. How intense was that? Hot damn. Yeah, Xeno Kid saying, Feta, what even? Bailey saying interesting tactics in response to Feta's crash from a few minutes ago. Yeah, I've never seen that in this particular tier. Those shenanigans don't normally make it into Cookie's tier, but sometimes they do, I suppose. And Vojay bins it into the wall for good measure, or rather his AI did, I think. After being eliminated in Q1. And that's it. One of the Williams cars, St. Kiswato, at the very end, is going to steal it from his teammate Katra with a 1:27.202 and get into Q2. Yeah, Heatwave. I know I was a little late on that announcement, but yes, Sync is going to be the Williams that advances to Q2 after all, not Katra. So that means Katra, Feta Cheese, Vojay, and Unknown Ute are all out in Q1. They are donezo. Got to say, the biggest surprise of those definitely has to be Feta, considering the Renault is, as of right now, the 5th fastest car in the game, so theoretically he should be getting into Q3 with that one, with that car, if he's getting the most out of it. But either way, about 1 minute and 45 seconds now that the AI will get to drive the driver's cars just for fun, I suspect, and after that we'll be on to Q2. Just a reminder, Q2 will be a 15-minute session that features everybody except the bottom 4 that you see on the leaderboard on your screen right now. And it'll be 15 minutes, and the bottom 5 in that session will be eliminated from qualifying, but we'll still be there for the race, don't worry. Heatwave saying, McLaren boys, let's go. Yeah, pretty easy session for McLaren, I'd say, except for that little scare for Zampa at the end, but he cleaned things up pretty well. Xeno Kid seems quite disappointed that Katra couldn't quite make it out of Q1. But hey, Williams looking like a good teammate battle so far. That was pretty close qualifying for those two. The two Red Bulls very close together. And the two Ferraris not too far apart either. Ed Tarogna and ARS Sainz separated by about a tenth and a half in this first session. So looking like some very nice and close teammate battles. Kiswato, of course, it was pretty impressive for him to get into Q2 just now, but I don't suspect he'll be going any higher than 15th, considering the limitations of his Williams car. And this is the order. Joe F1 tops the timing sheets, but of course the top of the timing sheets does not matter in this session. It's all about the bottom, and this is the bottom for you right here. Q-Man saying at least one of my Renaults are in Q2. Yeah, Q-Man, F for you. F for you, dude. It's got to be hard seeing one of your cars out so early at the first race of the season. But anyway, we roll on into qualifying 2. Should be even more exciting than the first section, and because, keep in mind, Q2 is when the strategy kicks in for full qualifying format, because the top 10 starters, everyone who makes it into Q3, the top 10 will start the race on whichever tires they set the fastest lap in Q2 in, their fastest lap in Q2. So it's going to be interesting to see who sticks with these soft compound tires and who decides to take a gamble and try and start the race on mediums, which would be quite difficult. But here's the thing. The medium gamble is often worth it at Bahrain, or a track like Bahrain, because it is a very high tire wear track. This track is known for having a really abrasive surface that punishes the rubber on these cars quite a bit. So a medium to hard one-stop strategy would be a much better move than soft hard, which would take a ton of tire preservation. And the other option is, of course, a two-stop, which could consist of soft medium or soft medium medium, depending on how aggressive they want to be with their strategy. Anyway, people going out now, all ready for Q2. You can see BRL Neymar in the AlphaTauri. He's trying to go out onto the medium compound tires, at least for his first lap. But I gotta say, the AlphaTauri is the 7th fastest car in the game, so it's a bit lower on the food chain than most of the guys that are considering the medium gamble. Normally, the medium tire gamble is done by by drivers who have cars that they know can get into Q3 on softs. You know, the Mercedes, the Red Bull, the Racing Points, the McLarens, those are the 4 teams that are really going to be thinking about mediums the hardest because they know they have the best outright pace in the field. But the Renaults, the Ferraris, the AlphaTauris, they're a little bit marginal. They can get away, don't get me wrong, these cars can get away with it, those midfield cars, with a good enough driver, but it's just quite a lot harder to get by. Anyway, we'll see. Alright, we'll see how well it goes for these guys. Looks like, oh wow, a lot of drivers opting for the medium tires early on, 9 out of the 15. But, as you can see, some of the slower guys, ARS Sainz in the Ferrari, Fin in the Haas, Kiswato in the Williams, they know they're not going to get into Q3. They don't have a realistic prospect, so they're just going out on the softs to get the best track position they can. So again, it's different strategy depending on what position you're in terms of car performance. That's another really cool thing about realistic. And BRL Exia, one of our head league admins, is in the chat now. Let's go, he says. Red Bull and AlphaTauri for the win. And certainly looks that way right now, that they could be in contention, considering Ritzy's and Taylor's performance in Q1. Now let's ride on board with Neymar for the first flying lap at Q2. Hopefully I'll be able to point out some examples of where the medium tire just isn't quite as up to scratch. Oh! The commentator's curse strikes just as I say. Those medium tires, they're not as grippy over the course of a lap as the softs. Neymar goes for a bit of a spinala. And that's going to be his lap ruined and his set of tires tarnished. Super unfortunate for him. And I don't think he's going to be the first car to set a flying lap now. Who else? I think it's going to be TTM Stenner now in the McLaren. So we're going to switch over to Stenner. He's on the soft compound tire. So a team that could potentially have a better chance of making it into Q3 with the mediums is going with the softs, actually. So let's take a look at how Stenner's lap goes. And you'll see the pace discrepancy between the medium and soft tires in these conditions. It's like 4 to 7 tenths of a second per lap. So you will see that on the timing sheets. You will see guys in slightly slower cars like the Racing Points and McLarens. If they go for the softs, they could potentially set faster times in this session than the Mercs and the Red Bulls if they push hard enough. So Stenner about to finish his time. This will be the baseline. I suspect this will be the baseline time that everyone will be looking at. if you're running the soft compound tires. BRL Ardell's coming in just behind him. Ardell sets an even faster time, 128.1 for Ardell, 128.651 for Stenner. Neymar comes in distantly behind them after that spin. Ed Tarogna comes up to the line to set his first flyer. And it's P1 for Ed Tarogna, 127.338. And we're going to go down to the Williams to sync Kiswato. And Kiswato goes P2. Look at that. Look at him, 127.8. That's second place provisionally in a Williams car. Well done to him. But Joe busts all of them with the faster Mercedes on the medium compound tires. 126.8. Or sorry, 126.6. And take note, because Joe's fastest time, if I remember correctly, in Q1 was a 1 minute 25.4. So that's a delta of over a second on the medium tires. As I said, in terms of pure raw performance, oh, and there's a spin in the background. I think that's Zizou. No, it's Boss Cookie. Boss Cookie's who just finished his flying lap with a 137.0. He seems to have made a mistake on his flying lap and then again on his in lap now. So, the Racing Point driver did really well in Q1. Seems to be having some growing pains in Q2. As I was saying, the medium tires, sure, their ultimate pace delta to the softs is only 4 to 7 tenths roughly, but the delta in reality is often much larger because the mediums simply don't inspire as much confidence with the drivers. You can get a medium running car about half a second behind the soft time of an equivalent car if your driver has complete confidence in his tires, but that doesn't always happen just because the mediums aren't a qualifying tire, they're a race tire. They're not meant for this specific part of the Grand Prix weekend. So that can often be a handicap for guys trying to use this strategy. And just a reminder by our friendly bot to join our Breakout Racing League official Discord server if you haven't already. Got plenty of awesome content in there, cool chats, cool people, and if you want to sign up for the league, then Discord is mandatory. Deer Hunter comes into the pits after an out lap, it looks like. Maybe he's assessed the grip conditions on track and decided that the mediums aren't the right move. Mean Fern in the Mercedes, meanwhile, sets a time of 126.8. Not too far off of Joe at all, only 2.5 tenths. But it looks like he's not going to set up another lap after that. There's a McLaren coming around the final corner now. It's SSR Zampa. But he's on an end lap, it looks like. Yep, he's backed off massively. Ritzy Raccoon coming up to the line now on the medium tires. Again, Red Bull. Really good choice for the medium tires on this track because it is a faster car. And he's going to set a 126.8. And that's going to be P2 splitting the Mercedes cars in typical Max Verstappen Red Bull fashion. Taking a little water break. And Ed Tarogna now, setting a soft lap, the new fastest soft lap. That's going to be 127.338, not too bad for him. So everyone except for Deer Hunter, Science, Taylor Clan, and FinFan so far, setting flying lap times. Let's see, who's the nearest car on a flyer right now? Not Deer Hunter. Boss Cookie, it looks like. I think, yeah, looks like Cookie is doing another full push flying lap on his medium tires, but again, you only get one set of medium tires available to you during qualifying as, he has a massive tank slapper off with the penultimate corner. And Joe sets another fastest lap time, improving 126.2. I suspect that's because of a confidence increase after that first scouting lap. But yeah, Cookie looks to be grinding on his medium tires even more. Oh no, he's coming into the pit lane. Never mind. That was a pretty pushy in lap, I gotta say. He reminds me of me. I'm known for pushing a lot on my qualifying in laps as well when I do race. Yeah, so as I was saying, you only get one set of medium tires available to you for the entirety of qualifying. So you've got to make it last, because keep in mind, these guys, again, if they make it into the top 10, they'll start on the exact same set of tires as they used in Q2. And if you have a set of medium tires that's already 3 laps worn, that's not going to do too well for your strategy. That's going to defeat a lot of the purpose of fitting the mediums in the first place, which is having that longer first stint to work with. As Eris, Sainz, look at that! In the Ferrari that's been massively nerfed since the launch of this game, has just set the second fastest lap time, not too far off the pace of Joe. Granted, he's got softer tires on, but still, that's pretty impressive delta. And now Deer Hunter in the AlphaTauri. I almost said Red Bull. It is kind of a Red Bull, but technically not. Deer Hunter's going to be coming through the third sector now. trying to set the best lap time he can, trying to beat his teammate Neymar, which shouldn't be too hard considering Neymar completely botched his first flying lap. Although Neymar is also out on track right now trying to improve as well, so we'll catch up with him at the end of his lap. But for now, Deer Hunter, up to the line, DRS open, what can you do? 128 dead, pretty much. And that's going to put him in 8th place right there in that teetery-tottery zone where he could get knocked out of the top 10 as the session progresses. Now then, it looks like the next car to set a lap time will actually be his teammate, Neymar. So we're going to go down to him now. And Neymar has actually abandoned the medium gamble. So he's decided that he's going to prioritize outright track position and pace over strategy on the mediums, which I would do in his shoes if I were an AlphaTauri driver, just because of the pace of that car. So we switch compounds, and hopefully he'll be able to beat his teammate. If he doesn't beat his teammate, I'll be pretty disappointed in him, since he is on those softer tires, as I mentioned before. And it looks like the chat is not very active at the moment. Purple middle sector for Neymar, that's likely a lie, because Codemasters often gives these guys fake purple middle sectors on the minimap for some reason. But I'm not seeing too much activity in the chat right now. Twitch is saying we've got 29 viewers on the stream right now, which is a pretty decent total, but I'm not seeing anything in terms of chat activity. So make sure to keep talking with each other, keep things going. And wow! The purple sectors were not a fluke. Neymar, he put a great time together there. Half a tenth behind Joe. Not too bad. The AlphaTauri is definitely more than half a tenth behind the Mercedes in terms of outright pace. I dare say Neymar's getting more of that AlphaTauri than Joe has gotten out of that Mercedes so far, as Taylor Glenn rockets to the top of the leaderboard on soft compound tires out of nowhere. 125.779, not at all. Two-man saying chat dead. Well, why don't you go change that? Chat should be alive. Chat should be vibrant. Chat should be awesome and amazing. Bailey says he's currently doing his homework. No problem with that. Focus on your schoolwork, kids. I wish I followed my own advice a bit more often. But anyway, we continue now. FinFan in the Haas is on his out lap at the moment, about to finish it and start his flying lap time. First of the session for him. And after he sets his time, we'll get an idea of what exactly this drop zone looks like. We're right on board with the Haas driver into the braking zone for turn number 1. Nice solid on the brakes. Not too much engine braking, surprisingly. A little deep. Bit of a lockup at the apex. That's going to hurt his run out of the corner, but hopefully not too much. Onto the DRS now for the second straight. Approaching turn number 4. And we've got a new person in the chat. Avi10P, hello. Tier 6 reporting. Tier 6 reporting for duty. Very nice. Oh, and he invalidates. FinFan, what have you done? FinFan has decided, for the sake of preserving tires, to hold off on his flying lap in Q2 until the very death of the session. Well, not the very death, but until the very late stages. And now it looks like it might be coming back to bite him, as Taylor and Joe both retire because they're happy with their times. They are pretty secure into Q3 at this point. But FinFan, he's going to have another opportunity. He's going to be able to set another lap. But he doesn't have nearly as much cushion as he would have if he had set a time at the start of the session as well as now. So that's working against him quite a lot. As Boss Cookie, look at him! Cookie proving again that he's got excellent qualifying pace. 125.422, even beating the faster Red Bull, driven by Taylor, on the same tires. I mean, wow. Neymar retires from P4. I suspect he's pretty secure in his position as well. So I suppose we can call this a pretty clear drop zone. Deer Hunter in the AlphaTauri car, currently sitting in 11th. BRL Ardell, FSR Zampa, and TTM Stenner are also currently in a position where they will be eliminated in Q2 if they don't improve their times. Although granted, Ardell and both the McLarens are currently on out laps and are about to do flying laps. So that shouldn't be the case for too much longer. A&M8 GTE claiming that he is the #1 Ritzy simp. Wow. That's a pretty bold claim there, dude. I mean, there's a lot of Ritzy simps out there. There's a lot of them on the BRL Discord server. If you're on that, you'll know a lot of folks be simping for Ritzy nowadays. He's a pretty popular character. A popular character. Yes, indeed. Anyway, SSR Zampa currently on a flying lap as well for McLaren, trying to get out of Q2 He should be able to get out of Q2 now that he's on the softs. He's abandoned the medium gamble, and he is prioritizing outright pace now. He's not taking any risks with this final opportunity that he has to set a lap. Cereal for dinner and BRL racing kind of hit different. Not sure what you mean by that, Bailey. If you want to clarify, go right ahead. I have a vague idea of what you're trying to say, but go ahead and elaborate anyway. Ardell and Stenner have now officially started their laps as well. Boss Cookie retires from his very lofty heights at P1. Now Zampa is going to be coming down the final straightaway here into the last corner. Let's see how he takes this final bit of the tarmac. Bit of a lockup, ooh, a bit of a curb hop as well, but that's often the fastest way to get through the apex. And it's looking good. He's looking good. He's looking great. 7th place for the McLaren. An improvement of 1.3 seconds. And Zampa is probably into Q3 unless something absolutely nutso happens. One driver at risk right now, surprisingly, is Meanfern, who's down in 9th place. Not sure how that happened. I suppose he is on the medium tires, but the mediums don't have that big of a pace delta to the softs. He should be able to be on a similar level to Joe. But anyway, TTM Stenner now at the very bottom of the leaderboard since FinFan just set his time, 11th fastest. Stenner coming up now on the medium tire. How is his gamble going to do? It's not going to pay off. Stenner is out in Q2. 11th fastest time. He needed less than a 10th, and he would have been there. I feel for you. I feel for you, Stenner. Ritzy Raccoon goes up to P2, but it doesn't really matter too much since he was already pretty much safe. BRL Ardell now trying to get into Q3, and he does! Look at that! Preliminarily, at least. Ed Tarogna might have something to say about that if he can scrape together 3/10 of time. But Ardell looking to get a Renault into Q3. Oh, Sinkiswato, look at that. And the Williams, he beats his time. 127 dead is now the time to beat for Tarogna as he comes up to the line. Is going to beat it? No, he's not. Tarogna is not able to beat his time, and he's going to be eliminated in Q2, meaning we've got a Williams in Q3 unless FinFan has something to say about it, or Deer Hunter. And they do. Deer Hunter goes 9th fastest. But FinFan fails to improve. So last gasp from Deer Hunter prevents us from getting the story of the century with a Williams in Q3. My gosh. And look at Meanfern. Meanfern in the Mercedes car. Whew, he must have been sweating there for that last little bit of the session. Because he was about to get eliminated in Q2 in a Mercedes. How embarrassing would that have been? My gosh. Anyway, these are your eliminations. Sinkiswato, despite an extremely valiant effort, I'm quite impressed with him at the moment, is going to be eliminated in Q2. But he will have that free choice of tires, so that is important to note. He will be free to choose whatever tires he wants at the start because he's not in the top 10. BRL Ardell also eliminated, meaning Renault will not have a representative in Q3. And then the other two before it cut away were Ed Tarogna in the Ferrari, also out, as well as TTM Stenner in the McLaren, and Num1 FinFan in the Haas. Grand, yeah, you got beaten by a Williams. I don't know how to say it, buddy, but you got a little bit slapped around. But anyway, these are your 10 finalists for pole position. Now on to qualifying 3, and after this will be the race. I promise. We're actually having a race here. This is not just an hour and a half of qualifying, but Q3. Here we go. 12-minute session for all the marbles. Pole position. It looks like we've got not only two competitors in the forms of the Mercedes, but 4 with the Red Bulls and even 5 with Boss Cookie, who's putting together a really nice performance so far. And Nidal Comet, I'm sorry, I probably butchered your name, is Pog. He is Pog for Red Bull. Very nice. Both Red Bulls into Q3, so you'll have plenty to Pog about this session, I suspect. Let's get all the cool gadgets up again on the screen, and go. Exy is saying that DSQ Joe. I would say that's a joke, but Exy is one of our head league admins, so I'm gonna bite here. Why should I disqualify Joe from this session? Why should the stewards rather disqualify Joe from this session? And people already rushing out onto the track. And, ooh, nice little truly train forming here already. I hope these guys are going to spread out before they start their flyers, because otherwise they're going to inhibit each other quite a lot. The two Mercs and the two Racing Points leading the charge, it would seem, with Mean Fern at the very front of this. But everyone except for Deer Hunter, it looks like, has already left the pit lane and is out onto the track. That's going to make for a very crowded session. So we're going to move to the defending champion of Realistic Tier, Taylor Clan 2008. As he's going to set the first flying lap time of Q3. And the first provisional pole time, I suspect. Unless he invalidates, of course. So let's find out how this session goes. For sandbags. Saying disqualify Joe for sandbags. I don't think sandbagging is actually illegal in this particular league, since really if you sandbag in F1 during a race and a qualifying, you're really only shooting yourself in the foot. So I doubt there will be punishment for any of that going on, if it is going on, that is. Oh, now Phantom's leaping in. GK Phantom 1997 saying disqualify for Joe or no points. Maybe a Mercedes fine, too. Yeah. You guys. Let's get on with the lap. So, Taylor Clan riding on board now through the middle sector. Ooh, looking very smooth. I can never go that fast through the Bahrain curves without spinning. And I suspect a lot of Tier 4 or Tier 5 drivers will share those sentiments. Now coming through the infamous turns 9 and 10. Is he going to lock up? Is he going to resist the urge? Yes, he is. Wow, very smooth through there. Now onto the throttle. No perceptible wheel spin whatsoever. Doesn't look like he's struggling at all at the moment. Esports line into turn 11, very graceful transition. Missing the apex by just a tiny bit at turn 11, but recovering nicely. And now into the penultimate corner. Purple middle sector, of course, because it's the only middle sector time. And now down to the final corner. Flawless run so far, almost. But what's the time going to turn out to be? Ooh, it's not going to be in the 24s. It's going to be a 25.6. And Aris Sainz comes in with a 26.4 in the Ferrari car. And I believe Mean Fern's going to be the next to come across the line. Yes, he is. And it should be Aris Zizou, I suspect. Mean Fern, what's he going to get? He's going to get 126.1. Not quite pole. Boss Cookie goes P2 with a 125.7. Mean Fern still not having the best qualifying pace. Zizou seems to have invalidated his lap time. And no, Ritzy hasn't. Ritzy hasn't invalidated. But he is coming back in. Not sure why. SSR Zampa sets the 5th fastest time. Or the slowest time so far, rather. And Neymar, 126.4 in the AlphaTauri. Not too far behind Sainz. Not entirely sure what happened to Joe, Ritzy, and Zizou there. Well, to Joe and Ritzy. We know Zizou invalidated his time. Now then, Deer Hunter, the very last guy to get out onto the track. I suspect he was just waiting to avoid the traffic to get out onto said track. But he's now starting his flying lap time for Q3. Let's find out how this is going to go. Quality ban and 15th place grid penalty now for Joe. Well, this has escalated quickly. We should note that all of these demands to ban Joe are currently jokes and do not reflect on steward's decisions in any way, especially considering the race hasn't even started yet. Now then, watching Deer Hunter gracefully navigate the first sector. Playing by the rules so far, not up to any shoosty business, not as aggressive on the curbs as his Red Bull teammates, but of course that's more down to the capabilities of the car than anything else. As Mean Fern and Boss Cookie, ho ho ho! They're upping the ante on one another. Mean Fern sets a 125.5, not too bad, but Cookie takes it to another level with a 125.391, which is the fastest lap time we've seen across all of qualifying so far. Cookie making a real statement. Now then, back to Deer Hunter, who's currently on an active lap. So not too much to say about this one. Pretty smooth so far. Quite a bit of curb through the penultimate corner, I should note. Ooh, getting a bit of a slipstream, it looks like, off his teammates, Neymar. Oh. I mean, the slipstream isn't super powerful at this track just because it's not a power track in the same way as Monza or Belgium, but it should help him maybe 100th of a second, 200ths. But it's not going to help him beat his teammates' time. It's a 126.883. 400ths off the pace of Neymar. In the meantime, it looks like the next car to start a flying lap will be Joe in the Mercedes, who aborted his first lap for reasons that I didn't catch on stream. So let's find out what he can do during crunch time, the final bit of the session. He's had good pace so far, top of the charts in Q1, very nearly top in Q2. And he starts now. In turn 1, let's ride on board. A bit of a lock-up, not too smooth at the apex, looking a little sluggish actually out of turn 1. Again, the raw power of that Mercedes, or the low dragginess, if that's a word, low dragginess, are going to help him down that straight with DRS. Nice and solid through turn 4. Plenty of smoothness there. Yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3 for no reason, whatever. Purple first sector for Joe. Looking good. Ooh, bit messy at turn 8, but nothing lap breaking. He's still going, sending it into turns 9 and 10, locking up a bit, but he still gets the car slowed down in time for the apex. Not as smooth as Taylor, but it may well be faster than Taylor's time. Let's find out. Mercedes, of course, having more pull on the straights than the Red Bull. That's its main advantage. Straight line speed. Ooh, very nice through turn 11. It looks like he's controlling a little bit of oversteer there, but he controls it very deftly. Purple middle sector as PB Raptor 24 joins the session for no particular reason. He should leave right now if he's watching the stream. He is illegal. And he's left. Wonderful. Maybe he heard me. Who knows? Now into the final corner. Ooh, looking very nice. That's really good transfer momentum. The final corner at Bahrain is really pretty difficult. And in real life, that will be a penalty. But crossing the white line on pit lane entry is not that big of a deal in the F1 game. And Joe sets provisional pole. 125.109. I mean, wow, that's nearly 3/10 faster than the next fastest car, Boss Cookie. Very impressive indeed. Now, ARS Zizou going through the same rounds. Currently at turn 8 on a flying lap. He needs to set a time now, or he's going to start at the back of the top 10. Grant saying that's illegal. Well, Grant, here's the thing. It is technically illegal in real life. We saw Kimi Räikkönen penalized for it this year at the Tuscan Grand Prix, but the game doesn't enforce it. And if the game doesn't enforce it, we usually don't enforce it either. There are some exceptions, like resetting the track, but mostly we're pretty hands-off when it comes to penalties that the game doesn't recognize. Purple middle sector for Zizou. I wonder if it's one of those fluke sectors that we see sometimes, as he is on a Racing Point car, and he doesn't seem to have the same pace as Boss Cookie so far. But hey, let's find out. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt until he crosses the line. It's not going to be pole, but it's going to be 5th place, 126.401. Not too bad at all for the Racing Point driver. Looking very nice. JMO saying season ban for Joe for crossing the pit lane entry line once. Yes, that makes sense. I believe Räikkönen got a 5-second time penalty when he did it, but I don't think Joe will even get that, because again, we don't recognize it as a penalty in the rules. But it's nice to see we're getting some chat activity again as the race is about to start. Great timing on that, and it looks like the next car to start a lap will be Zizou's teammate, Boss Cookie. He's just approaching the final corner now on his out lap. Bit of a lock up into the final corner, but that can often help with tire temperature. So maybe it'll be a blessing in disguise. As Zizou now retires on track. Hold on a minute, let's ride on board with Zampa. It looks like Zizou has just decided after his first flying lap to retire from Q3, but he didn't wait to go into the pits to do it. He did it on track, which is, you guessed it, illegal. I'm guessing he'll be hearing from the stewards about that after the race. But in the meantime, let's go back to Boss Cookie and his flying qualifying lap, and he's invalidated it. Oh, how wonderful. Maybe it was the commentator's curse. Who knows? And he spun! Oh my... Okay, that was definitely the commentator's curse. As soon as I switched to him, the corner after I switched to him, he spins off the track and loses his wing. And that's going to be it for Boss Cookie, I think, in qualifying. It's going to be curtains because while he does technically have enough time to start another lap, he's missing a front wing. So if he starts another lap now, he won't be very fast with it. Yeah, pretty bad luck for Boss Cookie. So his bid for pole is over. And we've got a new follower. What do you know? David D was here, has just followed the stream. And he is our 828th follower for the BRL Twitch channel. So thank you very much, good sir. I hope we'll prove to be as worthy of your time as you think we are now. In the meantime, Ritzy is just starting his flying lap. Taylor is just about to start his as well, as is Neymar and Deer Hunter. And Zampa has been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way on the track. Would you take a look at that? Can we get some F's in the chat for Zampa, please? So he's going to be. That doesn't mean he's disqualified from qualifying, but he's disqualified from Q3, not the whole session. So he won't start at the back. He'll start in 10th place. Just to clarify that for anyone who's not familiar with how F1's somewhat dubious penalty system works. Anyway, let's look for new times. Mean Fern about to set a new flying lap time. Is he going to improve? Didn't see his middle sector split, so we're going in blind. No, he can't improve his time. And that's going to be it for Mean Fern. He'll start third or lower, depending on the times of the Red Bulls. So let's see who's going to be next. It's going to be Eris Sights, who's next across the line. He's about half a tenth up on his previous time in the middle sector. That will net him 5th place over Zizou as it stands. But he's a pretty far ways off Taylor Clan in the Red Bull, so I don't think he'll go any higher than P5. And it's an improvement of a tenth and a half. Not bad at all. 126.263. A very good qualifying result for the Ferrari. Taylor Clan is about to finish his lap time. Ritzy Raccoon's actually in the pits. Ritzy's not going to set a lap time this entire session, so he's going to start in P9 alongside Zampa. And purple sector 3 for Taylor Clan with a valiant effort at pole, but he's not quite going to get it. 125.384 is his time, and that'll be good for 2nd place. Knocking Boss Cookie down to 3rd and Mean Fern down to P4. Deer Hunter is going to leapfrog Zizou at the dying breaths of Q3. So he'll be starting P6 alongside ARS Science in the Ferrari. Excellent qualifying showing from AlphaTauri. Let's see if Neymar can make it even more excellent. And there's a Mercedes tailgating him. Is that Joe? It is Joe. Joe's tailgating Neymar. What's he doing? Oh, Joe was on a flying lap. He must have been slipstreaming Neymar in that case. Looks like they both benefited from that. Neymar got a little hustle up and is going to start 5th place ahead of Sainz. 126.255. That's an excellent showing for AlphaTauri. 5th and 7th. It's always weird. AlphaTauri seems to do way better in realistic league racing than the car's performance suggests. Not entirely sure what it is. But Joe getting provisional pole right at the end there with a seemingly assisted slipstream there from Neymar. I'm not entirely sure what the story is there. But Joe will be our pole sitter with a 124.897. The only guy to dip into the 24s in all of qualifying. Very impressive indeed. Jay Hamo saying it's a literal toe. Although toes are legal in qualifying in F1, so don't worry about that. He's not going to get disqualified because of his actions there. And Grand is saying this is why Joe should have been in the Williams. Well, the cream always rises to the top in these realistic leagues with driver market systems. So I say, Joe, take the Mercedes, try and win the race, and try to prove that you deserve this seat and silence the haters. Joe's not French, by the way. He's American. And Neymar is not from Cameroon. These guys just have a certain sense of humor. Although I believe Sainz is actually Venezuelan. So, that's it for qualifying. Our pole sitter is Joe, as mentioned. We'll see the full starting grid again in just a moment here as we go to the grid. And we're going to see what the weather's like. Obviously, it's going to be dry because it's Bahrain. But will it be clear or overcast? That could affect track temperatures. It looks a little bit overcast, I got to say. Cloudy. Or maybe that's just the lights. I don't know. But the drivers are on the grid now, and they'll be using this time to finalize their tire strategies, which is especially important if you're starting outside the top 10, since you have that free choice of tires. They'll also be making any last-minute setup changes, especially on the front end of the car, where it's still legal under Park Ferme regulations. And they'll be finalizing their fuel loads as well. Do you want to overfuel the car and run in a richer mix for a bit longer, get a bit more power? Or do you want to underfuel and have less weight to carry throughout the course of the race? Plenty of important decisions are made in this tiny break between qualifying and the race itself. We will be having a formation lap, so we won't get straight into the action, but it is forthcoming. Bailey saying, heavy rain at Bahrain. Oh, man. Yeah, I highly doubt that. It never rains at this track, not even when it was actually cloudy in real life this year. Like, if you recall, in the real-life Bahrain Grand Prix weekend, there was a lot of clouds. It looked like it might even rain in the Formula 2 races, but it never did. Because these are Middle Eastern tracks. It's impossible for it to rain here. Anyway, let's see what tire these guys have fitted. Oh, would you look at this? Joe and Meanfern starting on the mediums, of course, because that's what they qualified in Q2 on. The two Red Bulls of Taylor and Ritzy both on softs, as is everyone else in the top 10, and there's already front wings flying everywhere. Cool. Actually, did anyone actually lose a piece of their wing? Hold on a minute. Let's take a look here. Looked like a bit of AlphaTauri wing. I don't think so. Yeah, you don't normally take damage in the formation lap anyway, so you should be just fine. But look at this. All right, Sink, Kiswato, and Finfan in the Williams and Haas. You'll notice both of them got into Q2. Both of them are starting on the hard compound tire instead of the medium. That's normally conventional wisdom for folks starting outside the top 10. And this is often a strategy that teams with very slow cars employ. Start on the hard compound tires, try to stretch your first stint as long as possible, and hope for a safety car sometime in the middle or late middle of the race that gets you a free change of tires onto the mediums. And that'll net you a lot of track position and a shot at points that you normally wouldn't get. If it all works out, that is. It certainly might not work out in their favor. Bailey said it's probably the braking boards that went flying during the formation lap that I was mentioning. Yeah, I think that was it, because, a white thing flying through the air, a small white thing. That can be a piece of AlphaTauri front wing, as I was saying, or it can be a braking board, as you said. So the cars are going back to the grid now, and they're going to form up. You'll notice that besides Kiswato and Finfan, everyone else outside the top 10 is starting on mediums. They know the soft is not a good race tire at a high-wear track like Bahrain. And that's something that the top 10 might have to watch out for around lap 4 or 5 when their tires are really starting to go off. Pressure from the guys behind. All of that and more forthcoming as we get ready to start not only the first race of the season in BRL Realistic Tier, but also the first race in all of Breakout Racing League Season 6. It's going to be a fun ride this season, everybody. Hope to see you guys there, not just today, but in the coming weeks. So, with that, formation lap over. It's time for business. The lights are almost out. And off we go. It looks like a good start from Joe, but watch out for Taylor on those softs. He could get a good run out early. No, he's not going to, but Boss Cookie's actually going to go ahead. Boss Cookie goes to the second. He's pressuring Taylor, and he's ahead. Boss Cookie dive bombs Joe. He's not quite going to do it, though. Boss Cookie gaining a position already. Meanford pressuring Taylor, going for third place. Everyone cleanly through so far. It looks like nice train here going down the second straight. Ooh, and Boss Cookie goes down the inside of Joe for the lead. He's going to get it in the racing point car. Joe gets pushed wide at the exit of turn 4 and is now going to come under pressure from Taylor Clan, and the Red Bull seems to have shaken off Meanford for the moment. What's going to happen into turn 8? It is an overtaking spot. If you're desperate, Taylor's going to wait on it. Joe locks up big time, though. And that could give, if Taylor's been running leads, to a little pass into turns 9 and 10. Let's find out. No, he's going to bide his time further. He could get a good run off of turn 10, though. Again, Taylor very smooth, preventing the lockups. Joe perhaps working lockups into his driving style a little bit. As of right now, the two Williams cars doing really well. Hey, Katra gaining 3 positions already at the start of the race. As your current running order is Cookie, Joe, Taylor, Meanfern, Neymar, with Ritzy, Sainz, Deerhunter, Stenner, and Zizou rounding out the top 10 with Ardell not far behind. And Boss Cookie leading the race early on. Look at him, our realistic coordinator. He might as well have made this tier all for himself, because he is in a class by himself in this first lap. Taylor Grant still hounding the back of Joe on those weaker tires. What's going to happen off the final corner? Could he get a slip through? Oh, Joe goes wide at the exit. Taylor's going to go for it. Taylor's going to go for second place in the Red Bull. What's going to happen? And we're not quite sure. Neymar's behind as well, trying to go after Meanford. They're side by side. And the scoreboard is glitching. Wonderful. Joe side by side in turn 1. Taylor's got the preferred line, but Joe's going to fight back. And oh, there's contact at the exit of turn 2. And it looks like Taylor's going to get second place, but there was a bit of elbows out action there. Neymar, meanwhile, has gotten up to 4th place somehow in the AlphaTauri car. He's currently battling with Meadfern and Ritzy, who go 3 wide into turn 4. Let's watch this battle. Gonna watch this space. Ooh, someone getting a little out of whack there. It's Era Sainz. And it looks like the scoreboard really is having a bit of an aneurysm right now because I can't tell who's who on that. But Sainz is definitely the one pressuring Meadfern right now for what looks like 5th position or 6th position. Yeah, it is 6th position now that the scoreboard has shaken itself out. Now, going back up to the front, Boss Cookie is not only maintaining the gap to Taylor, but he is expanding it ever so slightly, 10th by 10th, sector by sector, and that's important because at the end of lap 2 here, DRS is going to be enabled. And that means if you're within a second of the car ahead of you, then you will get that opening in the rear wing on 3 different straightaways at this track, which will gain you quite a bit of extra lap time and an opportunity for overtaking. Looks like Boss Cookie will be out of Taylor's DRS. Taylor will most likely be out of Joe's DRS, although the timer is not showing it. Neymar is not going to be close enough to Joe, but Ritzy will be close enough to Neymar. Maybe a little bit of team orders going on at Red Bull there. Ritzy might be forced to, Neymar might be forced to let Ritzy by. Boss Cookie's at the fastest lap on the second lap, 1:09.8. Bailey, contact with the Ghost. It wasn't actually contact with the Ghost. The game was just portraying Joe's car as a Ghost because it momentarily thought it was a lap car while it was cycling through target sheets. But anyway, plenty of close action here early on in the Bahrain Grand Prix. And Ritzy got by Neymar there into turn number 1. Pretty easy pass, it looks like. So, Ritzy Raccoon back up in the 4th place. He's in a position where he could potentially go after Joe while the softs still have the advantage over medium tires. But it's not going to be for much longer, so he needs to press his advantage now. Meanwhile, further back, TTM Stenner has already made his way up from 14th to 9th. Just the first 2 laps, now he's going after Deer Hunter in the AlphaTauri, but he's currently on weaker medium tires, so he's going to have to bide his time a little bit, I suspect, before he tries any further moves up the field. Oh, it's so intense that the arrow needed a water break. Yeah, need a water break. Anyway, Stenner in the DRS, not quite going to get close enough, though. But Meadfern is now right on the back of BRL Neymar. Mercedes against AlphaTauri. Mercedes is usually going to win in this battle. Let's see how long it takes him. He'll probably wait until the pit straightaway here, since that is the next best overtaking opportunity that's available to him. Let's see how this pans out. Meadfern very close to the back of Neymar right now. Could he try it into the final corner? No, he's going to wait for DRS. He knows it's a smarter move. He knows he doesn't want to get under pressure from ARS Sainz right now, so he doesn't want to make a move into a corner that could cost him time. And it looks like he's going to get DRS here. Neymar is not going to get DRS on Ritzy. Running on board now with the Mercedes driver, and he's going to cruise by, it looks like. No, not quite. He's going to have to do it in the braking zone. Neymar tries to defend, but he can't do that much. Oh, but he defends. Look at that. Meadfern not being aggressive enough with the brakes, it looks like. He knows it's still early days and doesn't want to risk a DNF now. He's going to stay in 6th place for now, but the more time he spends behind the AlphaTauri, the more time he loses to the leading 4 that are rapidly pressing their advantage. In the meantime, further back at the periphery of the points, there's plenty of close action. Zizou currently trying to get past BRL Ardell, who just broke into the top 10 himself. Let's see how long he can stay there. Racing Point, again, a faster car than the Renault, and with quicker tires at the moment, so let's see if Zizou can press his advantage and get back past the Renault. Doesn't look like he will be right now, so let's switch back to a battle further towards the front, as Zampa gets past Aranya for 17th place. I'm not sure what happened to Zampa early on. He must have had a bit of an off moment, because he started on the top 10 and he's now towards the back, so yeah, not too sure what happened there. We'll maybe talk to him about it after the race, maybe during the intermission period. But we'll have Deer Hunter, meanwhile, trying to chase down Era Sainz, and Sainz is equally trying to chase down Meadfern. And ahead of Meadfern is still Neymar, and if Neymar continues to stay ahead of the Mercedes, then he could form a little bit of a trolley train here, going all the way down to the remainder of the points-paying positions. Already, Meadfern, Sainz, and Deer Hunter are forming a DRS train behind the AlphaTauri, and Stenner isn't too far behind. Meadfern not close enough to try anything into turn number 1. None of them are close enough to try anything into turn 1. Oh, but Meadfern's putting the pressure on. He could get it into turn number 4 if he uses all of his overtake. He's got to leverage his battery here. Neymar has more battery, but there's only so much of it he can use in one straightaway. He's going to try it round the outside. That was never going to work. That was quite an intense moment there for Meadfern. It was barely within the track limits there. There was barely room on the outside. I did not expect that at all. And he wisely backed out of that move. Does not seem like the kind of thing you want to be doing this early on in your first stint. And 12th through 19th is actually pretty close right now as well. Let's go further back. Kiswato, keep in mind, he started 11th. He's decided to go on to the slowest tire for the slowest car, so he does seem to be forming a bit of a train right now. Behind him, all within DRS range of each other, are Feta Cheese, Vojay, Katra, and Zampa, who's just gotten past unknown unit seems for 16th place and is trying to rapidly make up spots. But there's not too much overtaking action going on there right now, although there might be soon. Oh, Zampa might try and move now. Not quite. Turn 11 isn't the best spot to do that, especially not in a realistic series. Anyway, let's go back further up the order. BRL Ardell currently catching right up to the back of TTM Stenner. I was talking a moment ago about why Zizou might be able to catch up and pass Ardell. But actually, Ardell is the one pressing ahead right now, trying to get past the McLaren car, who's shown not quite top 10 pace so far in this session. Riding on board with Ardell. Is he going to get past for P9? Let's find out. And he is. It looks like he is almost before the braking zone. Stenner's going to try and fight it around the outside, but there's not that much he can do. Oh, but he does. He sticks it. Look at that. Stenner sticking around the outside. There's contact. Ardell gets knocked off the track and gets a 3-second time penalty for warnings on those track limits infringements. I think that was an unfair warning. Probably send a clip to the stewards about that, since he was technically knocked off the track limits by Stenner. But it was a racing incident, so I don't suspect either of them will be getting a penalty. There was no damage given after all. And this train is really condensing now, led by Neymar. Meanfern still can't get past the AlphaTauri car despite having a much quicker machine. And Sainz and Deer Hunter now are kind of starting to look a little threatening in the mirrors of the Mercedes, and they're both on soft compound tires. So maybe, oh, Meanfern tries a move. Hold on a minute. What's he going to do into turn 11? He's not. Look at that. He just killed his own momentum there. He took too tight of a line into the corner. Looks like Neymar pushed him too far to the left, and he just couldn't get a good enough angle to maintain speed. So he had to back out. Very aggressive but fair defending from Neymar, I gotta say. And that's going to give Era Sainz maybe an opportunity to get past the Mercedes on the front straight. Who would have thought that? A Ferrari overtaking a Mercedes in 2020 cars. Echo pointing out Ardell already has his ERS gone, so he might not be able to make another run at Stenner for a while. And we got our first pit stop. Neymar and Deer Hunter, both the Alpha... Or no, not Deer Hunter, but Neymar and Ritzy Raccoon both into the pit lane now for the first pit stops of this race. Let's find out what tires they're going to go on to. And, Neymar's going aggressive onto another set of soft compound tires. Maybe trying that soft, medium strategy that can work if you conserve enough at this track. Ritzy, meanwhile, going on to the more conservative medium compound. Looks like he's going to try a traditional two-stop. He's kind of committed to the two-stop, since mediums cannot go 22 laps at this track. No way, no how. So in the meantime, let's go back to Joe F1, who's still chasing down Taylor Clan at the moment for second place. He hasn't been able to recover that position. Our pole sitter just not quite as quick on the medium tires as his competitors on the sauce, which I suppose does make sense. Ooh, but Joe could make a run here. He's going to try it around the outside, maybe? Ooh, look at this. Taylor's got the preferred line. Oh, but he sticks it anyway. Look at that. Round the outside for Joe. The job not done yet. Oh, there's contact. And Taylor goes around. Oh my gosh. From that camera angle, I cannot quite tell if that was Joe's fault or Taylor's fault one way or the other. You could say Taylor was getting a bit too aggressive with the nose, and you could say Joe blocked him way too much. But I'm sure Taylor's going to send in a clip of that, because that's going to be pretty injurious to his race. Look at that, he's already fallen down from second to almost being pressured for fifth, and he's going to pit now. He's going to take the opportunity to come into the pit lane and get a fresh start. Probably on the medium compound tires, considering his timing. Little comment saying no. Seems we've got some Red Bull fans that are going to be not too happy about that. Oh! Taylor's going aggressive here. Soft to hard one stop. I did not expect any of the front runners to take a gamble like that today, but it looks like Taylor is going to go with that. And, okay. Could be in for a treat here. Meanwhile, Deer Hunter pits off of the soft compound tires onto the medium, so he's done with those. Neymar on the soft, but he already pitted. So it seems like if you pit from this general top 5 area right now, you'll rejoin, somewhere between 12th and 16th. That seems to be where most of those front runners that have pitted are filtering out. If I can English, please. And in the meantime, while we were focusing on that, TTM Center has actually gotten past BRL Ardell. Oh, sorry, Ardell's still behind Stenner. What am I saying? Ardell's still trying to chase down Stenner. But with so many position changes this race that I'm already losing track. But Ardell looks pretty close to the back of that McLaren. Forgive me for thinking that it was an ongoing battle. But he could be shaping up for a move here on the pit straight. He's not too far back at all. He's also the only car within DRS range of another car at the moment, within the top 10. Meanwhile, Neymar, on his fresh soft tires, trying to filter his way through the field, and he's getting past Unknown Ute pretty cleanly and easily here. Ooh. Well, I suppose around the outside of turn 13 isn't that easy. But he makes it work, and Neymar is into 13th. He's going to side through the field on these tires. Looks like he's going to have a run at Cottrell already on this next straightaway. Let's find out here. Meanwhile, Boss Cookie comes into the pits. He's pitting onto the hard compound tires, it looks like. As Ritzy Raccoon set the fastest lap of the race on his medium with the Red Bull. So, actually, Boss Cookie as well. Boss Cookie and Taylor both going for the aggressive soft to hard strategy here. Very surprising. It is a bit of a compromising one stop, but if you do get it right, it could save you a lot of time over that traditional two stop that a lot of people do. As Ritzy gets past Bojay to go back into the points-paying positions. When Ardell's having problems. Ardell going slowly, he's fallen well behind Stenner, and he's just gotten passed by Zizou, Feta, and Boss Cookie, all in one relatively short period of time. I wonder if he might have been going after Stenner, and there was a bit of a problem. Feta actually, hold on. Feta Cheese just slowed down there off of turn 8. I'm not sure what's going on with the Renaults right now, but it does not look like they're doing too well right now, the two Renault cars. Neither of them making it into Q3. In the meantime, it looks like we're going to have a little intra-team battle here at Racing Point. Actually, no, Zizou still has to pit, so never mind. Let's see what else is going on. Sink Kiswato getting passed pretty easily by Ritzy Raccoon. Of course, Kiswato won't want to waste time fighting the cars that have already pitted because they're simply not in his race. Ritzy could make a move here on BRL Ardell pretty soon here. As soon as the next corner? No, he's not going to. He's going to wait till the pit straight. As is wise to do. Looks like it's going to be a pretty easy stop here as Zizou peels off into the pit lane. Let's see, we'll stay with Ritzy here to see if he can get past the Renault, and he does easily. Look at that. Breezes by. Indeed. Now let's cut to Zizou. He's going to pit off the soft tires and onto the hards. Ooh, both the Racing Point cars. Gambling here, trying to go for the win. Very ambitious indeed. It's looking pretty good for him right now, I got to say. Well, Neymar getting past Vojay for P9 now. So the guys who have pitted really starting to filter back up to the top of the order where they were before. Little comment saying Feta had a tank slapper and I think Ardell got spun by a driver. Yeah, that would explain it. Ardell might have been in a bit of an altercation with Stenner since they were really close together for that period of time. Meanwhile, Ritzy Raccoon now trying to get past Feta G, speaking of the two Renaults. And it looks like he's going to do it here on this back straight. Ritzy going to try and take back 5th place from that Renault, and it's going to happen pretty easily. Look at that. Feta actively slowing down to let the Red Bull by. He knows it just isn't worth his time. So Ritzy is free now to chase after Boss Cookie, who's a few seconds ahead, but is on harder tires. So that could be an advantage that puts Ritzy in the conversation for the win here a bit later on. And in the meantime, Boss Cookie and Ritzy are actually getting an undercut and a half at the moment on Joe and Meanfern. Sure, the two Mercedes cars are only going to have to make one pit stop each. But Cookie and Ritzy are still gaining quite a lot of time on them right now on fresh tires. Let's see how that strategy game plays out a bit later on as Ritzy sets another fastest lap, 129.6. He's flying right now. Yellow sector 1, someone spun, says Echo. Sorry I didn't catch that. I don't think, I'm not sure if anyone spun actually. It looks like the order is still the same. But anyway. Looks like we got Unknown Ute peeling into the pit lane. Tails from the back markers. TM Stenner also staying out pretty far into the race, and it's actually worked. I think it's going to work out pretty well for him. Keep in mind, he started 14th. So it pays for him to have one less pit stop than everyone else in the top 10, or most other people in the top 10. So he's going long here, and he seems to be gaining time relative to the people that he started around. Like Ardell, Kiswato, Deer Hunter, etc. We'll have to wait and see how that strategy plays out for him as well. But it is lap 11 of 29, so we're getting into the window where those guys... Oh! And he spuns! He spuns. No, he doesn't spuns. He spins. Stenner around at turn number 12. I was just saying the medium runners are going to start thinking about pitting now. And Stenner on those older medium compound tires has just had a little bit of a spinala. And that's going to lose him a lot of time. You can see he's getting passed now by Feta Cheese. This is for position since neither of them have pitted yet. Ooh, Stenner just defending, but I think Feta's going to get the better of him on the pit straight. Having about the same amount of ERS at the moment. Now BRL Neymar is far behind them on fresh tires. We could potentially disrupt the conversation pretty soon. Plenty of position swapping going on right now. Look at this. Stenner still fighting back against Feta. Look at that. Oh, little bit of lagging going on there, but it looks like it's all good now. Feta, he's going to go back to turn 4. He's got the better line, but Stenner has the inside. How's this going to work out? This does not look good for either party as Neymar is gaining hand over fist on them, and he gets ahead. Feta does execute the pass in the end, so it looks like Stenner is going to be Neymar's first victim. And he goes down the inside into turn 8. Ooh, that reminded me a bit of Daniel Kvyat back at this race in real life. Of course, in that case, he flipped Lance Stroll over. Thankfully, no one ended up on their roof on that maneuver. But still, that was close margins in turn 8. Neymar's probably going to get past here after turn 10. Oh, nope, never mind. Stenner still has DRS on Feta. He's still just staying in touch. So he is going to stay ahead of the AlphaTauri for the time being. That and the Renault engine is superior to the Honda one. So that has a part to play. Taylor Clan, meanwhile, catching up to all three of these guys. And Taylor, with the faster car, despite having slower tires, I'm guessing he's going to breeze by all these guys relatively quickly. Maybe not Neymar. Neymar might put up a fight, but Stenner and Feta, they're going to either pit this lap, pit next lap, or just let these guys by. As you can see, Neymar making a move on Stenner. Ooh, they might have touched there, can't quite tell, but Stenner looking a bit wayward out of the final corner. Neymar's going to get by, and now Stenner's going to pit. That's probably the best option for him at this point. Stenner's going to pit under the hard compound tires of specs, since that is the traditional one-stop strategy. And Neymar's already passed by Taylor. Look at that. Taylor already making rapid progress through this little group, wasting no time in dispatching of them. Taylor can't quite get past the Renault into turn number 4, it doesn't look like. Feta's going to stay ahead for the time being, but look at that pressure. And Feta's going to back out. Feta again, it's just like, oh, no way, I'm not doing this. He did the same thing that he did with Ritchie there, just backed out of the throttle. But now that's going to put him under pressure from Neymar again, and Neymar is going to go down the inside into turn 8. This time he's going to get the job done in turn 8 without any drama. So Feta, by taking the cautious route there, by yielding to Taylor, sorry, he's really screwed himself over. He's lost 2 positions in the course of a couple of corners there. And now that's going to lose him time as well compared to Stenner, because he's going to have to pit soon. And when Feta rejoins the track, he'll either be quite a bit ahead or quite a bit behind Stenner. In the meantime, Deer Hunter currently hunting Vojay in the Haas on fresher tires. I don't suspect that'll be too much of a fight, considering his tires are a whopping 8 laps new. Yeah, the Haas really struggling, locking up even into the penultimate corner, which is not a corner that has a reputation for lockups at all. And Deer Hunter's going to breeze by here into the final corner. Ooh, his line's going to be compromised, though, through the last corner, so that might compromise him a little bit for the straight. Maybe Vojay can get another run. No, Vojay's going to pit. Smart move from Vojay, but Deer Hunter is out of ERS, so that's going to let ARS Science maybe get an opportunity here. Look at the Science of the Ferrari going for it. He has no ERS either, but he's still got momentum, and he's going to go around the outside, and he completes the move. Look at that. Mega opportunistic move from ARS Science there, and he is into P8 in style. Would you look at that? Meanwhile, Meanford in the Mercedes currently trying to chase down BRL Neymar. Meanford recovering to 6th place. Looks like once Meanford gets past the AlphaTauri, the natural order of things will be restored, and pretty much everyone in the top 10 will get back to where they were before pit stops. As Feta has pitted and rejoined in 13th, 3 places behind Stenner, so as I predicted, he's lost quite a bit of time in that whole exchange. Anyway, let's focus on this battle between Meanfern and Neymar. Ooh, Meanfern got a decent run down the back straight, but the thing with runs down the back straight is that they have to be really good runs, because turn 11 is not a corner that's designed for overtaking. So you really have to be in a position to force it. A little bit of a scuffed line there for Meanfern. Ooh, he might get into the final corner here, trying to get Neymar to go defensive by going to the inside. Not going to work. Neymar sticks to his line on the outside. Both of them taking completely different lines through that final corner, and Neymar's going to pit. Neymar's going to peel off into the pit lane. So Meanfern is now into 5th place, and BRL Neymar gambling with the 2-stop strategy here. Instead of doing soft medium, doing the soft medium. And that has gained him some short run performance, but it also means he's pitting onto that second set of mediums a bit earlier than the other 1-stoppers than the other 2-stoppers will. So it is a bit of a trade-off for the AlphaTauri driver. We'll have to see how it works out. He rejoins the race in what looks to be 12th place. Yeah, he rejoins in that. He rejoins in a pretty tough spot in that scuffle between Zizou, Ardell, and Fedda. So that might hinder his progress up the grid again. But again, it's only up from here because Neymar has no more pit stops to make. In the meantime, Deer Hunter getting very up close personal with Sink Kiswato. I did not expect that to be the first image I saw when I switched to him. Deer Hunter with a distinct advantage here. Newer tires, better car. Should be an easy move here on the backstreet. Let's ride aboard with him. Actually, no, Kiswato got a pretty good run. He's probably using quite a bit of his battery. Oh yeah, the Williams driver doing very well with battery conservation here, so that's going to help him maybe stay ahead of Deer Hunter for another lap or so. But he can't hold off the inevitable. Kiswato is on very old hard tires that he started the race on. So even if Deer Hunter doesn't get him, the pit stops will, and he will be forced to cede his very impressive 7th position. Meanwhile, how's Sink Kiswato's teammates doing? How is Sink Kiswato's teammate doing? Katra. Let's look at Katra. He's at 17th, and he's having a pretty uneventful race, it seems. 2.4 seconds behind Vojay, and quite a long way ahead of Ed Taranya, who seems to have had some sort of problem at some point. Not sure what happened to him. Taranya started a lot higher up the order than he is now, at least. In 13th, if I remember correctly, and now he seems pretty far behind, more so than if he was just on a normal strategy. And not sure what happened there. Maybe we'll get the chance to interview him during intermission. Who knows? But right now it's not looking good for him. But the important thing is we've still got 19 cars running in this race. There's not been a single retirement so far, which shows you that yes, racing leagues on Xbox are capable of actual clean racing. What a revelation! In the meantime, BRL Ardell has just been passed by Neymar, it looks like. So Zizou and Ardell both being ejected from the points-paying positions by that AlphaTauri driver on the fresh mediums. And TTM Stenner isn't too far up the road for Neymar, so I suspect he'll get him pretty easily. In the meantime, Deer Hunter's finally gotten past Sink Kiswato, the battery-managing Williams driver, and I suspect Sink is going to come in pretty soon here in the next few laps to go into the medium compact tires. He goes really wide there, off of turn 12. And, yeah, it's getting high time. It's getting pretty high time now for him to come into the pit lane. Deer Hunter moving to the right for some reason off of the middle of the corner. I'm not sure why. Maybe he got a bit of oversteer on. Is Sink going to pit now? Yes, he is actually. He's going to come in for a set of the medium compound tires. And that's that for him, at least for right now. And meanwhile, back at the front, Joe has actually closed right up to the back of Boss Cookie. And it looks like we could have a battle for lead here as Neymar set the fastest lap of the race on those medium tires. Actually, a three-way battle for lead because Ritzy, look at this, Boss Cookie, Joe, and Ritzy have suddenly condensed quite a lot, probably because they're slightly different strategies. Boss Cookie currently leading with the best track position, but he's on old tires. 7-lap old hard tires. Joe has slightly younger tires, but only by 3 laps, and Ritzy has better compound, but the oldest tires from all at 9 laps. So Ritzy is going to have to make another stop here. So he's not really fighting, for the win here at the moment. He might later, as the hard running's tires drop off. But Joe and Boss Cookie, this is a very important thing because Joe and Boss Cookie, they're on the same strategy. Neither of them have to pit again. They're both on hard tires right until the very end, unless something happens to them. So this is for the net race lead. Joe is only a third of a second behind, reclaiming the lead that he got during qualifying as pole position. Everyone going to the right side of the track, clearly trying to defend. Everyone trying to stay in the slipstream right now. Completely in lockstep. Joe almost running into the back of Cookie in the braking zone. He's really getting aggressive on that left pedal. Riding on board with him now on the second straight. Is going to make a move into turn 4. It doesn't look like it. No, he's not. He's going to hold off for now. Hold off for now, but we're going to keep a close eye on this battle. And there's a yellow flag in the middle sector. It's a Williams. There's a Williams stopped somewhere Oh, hold on. There's a spectator menu glitched. Katra is stopped on the circuit, it looks like. Yeah, Katra was stopped on the circuit there out of turn 8 for the moment. I'm not entirely sure why. And someone spun off the track. It looks like, yeah, it's Feta. Look at that. 2 incidents in the span of about 10 seconds there. Katra is topping for some reason on the exit of turn 8. I'm not entirely sure why, since he's down to last place now. But it looks like Feta spun off the track at the final corner, and he might have some front wing damage, because now he's pitting, despite having pretty fresh tires. So the Renault driver's day was going all right. He was in contention for points, but now it looks like it's being sunk a bit by this issue. Yeah, he's getting a front wing change, which does indicate that he took damage in that little scuffle. Now then, back to the battle between Joe, Boss Cookie, and indirectly Ritzy. Joe's going to have DRS again on the pit straight, so let's ride on board with him and see if we can get past. Cookie again moving to the right, almost going into the pit lane there. Wow, that was pretty ballsy. Again, in real life, you would get a penalty for that, like Kimi Räikkönen did in Mugello. But this is the game. We have a little more fun in the game. Joe's not close enough. Oh, but Cookie locks up into turn 1. That could give Joe the impetus he needs in order to get by on the second straight. Into turn 4, let's find out. Cookie's been using a lot of his battery. That's been the secret to him staying ahead so far. Joe tries around the outside. It's not going to work. That was really only a token move, but he can't afford half moves right now because Ritzy is right behind him, ready to capitalize on a mistake. Joe, again, making a bit of a half move in the S section there. Not really committing enough to anything. Cookie's saving his ERS well at the moment, knowing when to use overtake and how. And I think that's what's allowed him to stay ahead in a slower car so far. There's really only so much that a Racing Point can do against a Works 2020 Mercedes W11. Especially when it's in the hands of someone like Joe, who won the BRL Tier 3 Championship last season by an absolute landslide. So plenty of good racing here to be had at Bahrain. Don't go anywhere. We've got 10 laps to go, and it's a battle for the win. Now, it looks like we've got a lap car now. Feta, fresh out of the pit lane. Feta Cheese is going to become the first lap car of the entire race, I believe. Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, there's contact. Joe goes right into the back of Cookie there. I'm not sure what happened. Looks like Joe just outbraked himself, locked out into Cookie, into the back of him. It doesn't look like he's got any visual front wing damage, but not all front wing damage you can get in this game is visual. It could be very subtle. No end plates missing, but there could still be trouble for Joe. Let's find out. You know, Joe's into the pit lane, and he's going to be on another pair of medium compound tires, so he's surrendering a lot of track position right now, and I mean a lot, to the leading pair, but he's going to have much fresher tires than the leaders for the rest of the race. It looks like he's going to pop out in an easy 5th place behind Mean Fern and Taylor. It looks like at least Mean Fern should be in striking distance. Well, no, Taylor will be more in striking distance because of his older tires. Mean Fern maybe. Joe and Boss Cookie, realistically, probably not. It looks like, as of right now, it is a 2-horse race for the win. All right, chat, I want you guys to send a message real quick. Everyone, place your bets. Who will win this race? Will it be Joe? Will it be Boss Cookie? Or will they screw themselves over and will someone else win instead? Tell me your thoughts in the Twitch chat, and I will read them out loud on stream. And we got a new follower, actually. Zerj, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Zherj. Sorry, you followed the stream 12 minutes ago, and I've only now just realized it because we've had some excellent racing here that I've had to pay attention to. Thank you very much for following the stream, as the leaders currently are lapping Ed Taronia for the first time this race. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for following, and I hope you're still watching. I hope you are still viewing, despite the fact that I didn't shout you out. Skeppy's saying it's going to be a Spinala with a Taylor win. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. The 2 leaders wrecking each other is something that is not super uncommon in league racing, just because of how hard these guys go. Because, of course, in this game, you're not worried about dying. It's a video game. It's not real life, and there's a spinner, and it looks like Katra. Yeah, that is Katra. Katra having more woes, getting a bit loose at exit of turn 3, that looks like, and he's going to go right down to 18th place. Not a good day for Katra, not a good day for Feta, not a good day for Ute. Not a good day for several people. But a very good day for both Cookie and especially for Joe. He's got pole position already, and he's got fresher tires, and he's on the attack at the moment. Echo says he's got Boss Cookie winning. Natal Comment saying, just shut up, Skep. Let's be nice to each other. And Anterior Titan says, let's go Racing Point, win it for me, Cookie. All right, it looks like Cookie is definitely the more popular of the 2 drivers here, which is pretty sensible, since Joe does have a bit of a reputation in BRL. But anyway, commentator's supposed to be impartial. So we'll go past that, gloss over it, and go back to this battle. Still, both of them pushing super hard here, but neither of them getting a really distinct advantage at the moment. We've only got 8 laps to go now, so Boss Cookie just needs to hold off that Merc a bit longer. Oh, there's contact again! Once again, Joe runs into the back of Cookie. I think that's the second time in 3 laps at the very same corner. Still no visual damage. Joe's really pushing his luck at the moment. Riding on board now. He's going to try it around the outside of turn 1. He's closer than he's been in a while. They're side by side. Cookie got the better line. Cut back from Joe. Cookie goes too deep. Cookie's gone too deep, but he's going to get squeezed out. Maybe they're side by side. More contact. Wheel banging. Rubbins racing. I was going to go into turn 4. And Cookie pulls a bit of a Lance Stroll, locks up, goes wide, and he gets a 3-second time penalty rejoining the track. And Joe has taken the lead by pure brute force of this Bahrain Grand Prix. He might have some time to strike back here, like into turn 8. Ooh, that's close. That is very close, but it looks like Joe, with that tire advantage and car advantage, unless he makes a major mistake here soon. Oh, there's contact again. These guys can't stop touching fenders. Again, no visual damage for Cookie, just like it was for Joe. No end plates missing. But you gotta wonder how lime green are those front wings. How much lime green, subtle, non-cosmetic damage have they taken at this point? It's probably quite a bit. We are on full damage here. Anyway, it looks like the Cookie bettors are going to be a bit disappointed now because he is at a marked disadvantage at this point. He doesn't look to be close enough to Joe at the moment to make a move on the pit straight. Oh, but Joe locks up. Joe locks up and goes wide on the final corner. That could give Cookie exactly the opportunity he needs. He has more battery. Well, he used to, doesn't now, but he's still going to go by anyway. Without even the assistance of overtake, Cookie is going to retake the lead at the end of lap number 22. What a lifeline. Just goes to show. Hey, I said in the middle sector, I believe, that Joe had this in the bag unless he made a mistake again. I didn't say it had to be a big mistake. That was a really subtle, just run wide moment, like Cookie had at turn 4 at last lap, and it was enough. It was enough for Cookie to retake the lead on the straight. Look at that. Skeppy's pointing out that Taylor is making up time. Well, that's technically true. Taylor's only gained about a second on Joe since I last checked. So we'll ignore that battle for now, although Mean Fern is quite close behind Taylor. He does have a 3-second penalty encumbering him at the moment, so that's not a real battle. So we will continue to focus on Joe and Boss Cookie. Joe super close, but turn 11 is turn 11 is not an overtaking spot. Could I please English for just a little bit longer? My gosh. Meanwhile, let's observe a battle further back real quick. Looks like a pretty close battle going on for 9th place as well. Eris Zizou and BRL Ardell have both found their way into the points again thanks to pit stops. And they're now battling over the minor positions, 9th place and 10th place. Ardell has fresher tires and track position, but Zizou doesn't have any penalties. So this should be an interesting one to watch all the way to the end along with the fight for the lead in case it gets boring. Infern looking to be falling behind Taylor at the moment despite having fresher tires and a better car. Not looking good for the second Mercedes driver. Ooh, more close acting to turn 1. That looked like contact. Joe had a bit of a tank slapper off turn 1. Cookie getting increasingly desperate here on these older tires. They're both expending a lot of their overtake though, so neither of them has a particular advantage in the battery department. Which is too bad because previously battery was the main advantage that was keeping Cookie afloat, like around lap 19 or lap 20. That was the main thing that was helping him defend. But I wonder, maybe since Joe has been stuck in the dirty air of that Racing Point car so long, and he's getting more oversteer, more contact moments, more lockups, I wonder if Joe's tires have worn to a point that's roughly equal to that of Boss Cookie's, despite being 3 laps newer. That is a distinct possibility that might be preventing Joe from just waltzing away from Boss Cookie. Consider that. Of course, since both of these guys are likely to end up on the podium, we can always ask them during post-race interviews. In the meantime, let's just enjoy the action. Ooh, big lockup from Joe in the penultimate corner. That's going to lose him time. He needs to stay within DRS. It looks like he will still. Got about half a second, but he's going to have to use a bit of overtake to catch up. Now Cookie once again has more overtake than Joe does.
And they're both going to use their batteries, I suspect, here. Yep, Joe is, Cookie is. Cookie slowly drifts to the inside. That's going to be his one defensive move for this straightaway. How's this going to go? He sends it down the outside again, and Zampa's out. And it looks like Zampa retired from the pits. Not entirely sure why there, but yeah, it looks like Zampa has just decided that enough is enough, and he was unlikely to get points there, running in 13th, I believe it was. So he's decided to call it about 5 laps early. But that doesn't affect our battle here at the front. Joe and Boscook are still going at it hammer and tong with all they've got. Really amazing action here. And it looks like for the moment the Taylor clan will occupy the final spot on the podium, although Meanfern has clawed back a little bit of time since we last checked. Gapped down from 1.2 seconds down to 0.6 or 0.7 seconds, depending on what part of the lap it is. AxF1 is now in the chat, one of our Tier 1 drivers, saying, "Go, Joe, go," hype emoji. Well, I gotta say, you're the first person who's actually voiced your support of Joe so far, but it looks like Joe doesn't actually have the upper hand. Joe had the upper hand for quite a while. For the last few laps, actually, but Cookie is really hanging in there, and now Joe's starting to make some mistakes that are really hurting his chances at overtaking. Ooh, good penultimate corner there, though. Learning from his lock-up last lap. He's looking good here, unless he goes into the back of Boss Cookie again. No, he doesn't. Boss Cookie's the one who locks up this time, but Joe does get a little held up. He does get a little held up there. I should mention that. And there's a yellow flag now, and it's a Williams. Looks like Katra again. Yeah, Katra still not having a good race. Can't seem to get a break. Looks like he spun off a turn 4 that time. Bit of an oversteer moment, perhaps. Oh, in the meantime, Joe's taking the lead. Joe's taking the lead. Why did I have to click away at that particular time? Joe has just retaken the lead of this Bahrain Grand Prix into turn 1 as I was waffling about with the Williams. And Boss Cookie, struggling to hang on to the back of his car there. A bit of a tag slapper off turn 4, but big lunge into the S's section. And there's a yellow flag at Sector 2, and Katra's off the track again. Seems like he can't really get a handle on his car at this late stage. Not entirely sure why. Maybe he's got wing damage or something. But it looks like, yeah, Boss Cookie. I don't think Boss Cookie has an answer this time, unless Joe makes a major mistake. And I do make the distinction of major this time. It looks like Joe is going to win, especially since Boss Cookie has that penalty to reckon with. And meanwhile, further back, Deer Hunter has just taken 10th place away from BRL Ardell. That's the final point-paying position. So that's very important to note, and I don't think Ardell's going to be battling back for it because he's on much older and much harder tires. This Katra gets a 10-second time penalty for what must have been a pretty stupid quarter cut if it was 10 seconds. But Deer Hunter got past Ardell. He could go even higher here. He's right on the back of Zizou already. He could get P9 here. P7 and P9 for AlphaTauri would be a great result to start off the season with. Meantime, TTM Stenner would be the meat in the AlphaTauri sandwich if that happened at P8. And Katra has decided to retire in the pit lane. Looks like his race is over as well. Hold on, Meanfern. Meanfern going past Taylor Clan. Locking up into turn 1. That's not going to be good for the Mercedes. Oh boy, but again, Taylor doesn't have a penalty to reckon with. Fern does, so that could be the deciding factor in this battle for the final podium spot. Trying to go around the outside. Taylor. Oh, what a ballsy move. Very impressive from the Red Bull driver and our defending champion. Bye-bye Alex Albon. That's quite the Twitch name. Has just followed the stream as of 2 minutes ago. So welcome to BRL, good sir. You are our 831st follower for the stream. So one of many. Welcome to our amazing, large racing community. In the meantime, we've got some chat activity. NATO comment saying me and Skeppy are going to kill each other in Tier 2 or I Spinala. Well, we'll keep those predictions in mind come Saturday. And Skeppy saying he'd prefer that NATO comment social distance from him. As FinFan gets a time penalty now, but it doesn't matter too much since he's down in 14th at the moment. And Meanford still sticking right to the back of Taylor. Really getting aggressive in these late stages, but I'm not sure how much he can do with that penalty hanging over his head. That's still the main factor that's preventing him from getting on that podium. Joe's got his line on today, suggests Sachs. No, I don't think he does. Joe has been making quite a few braking mistakes this race. He's been a little inconsistent with that. So I do think he is legitimately not using line as he normally would. Look at that. Nice clean move into turn 1 by Mean Fern. But again, he won't be able to pull out that 3-second gap that he needs. He just doesn't have the time or the tires. It's the penultimate lap, and I doubt, unless Taylor has a spin, Taylor has this podium position locked in. A valiant effort from Fern, but ultimately it will be a futile one, as he is still in a net P4. And actually, one thing I should mention, after his second pit stop, Ritzy Raccoon has been catching it up to 3rd and 4th at quite a decent rate. And he's only 3.8 seconds now behind Taylor, meaning he's only 4.4 seconds behind Mean Fern. So potentially, Mean Fern could get not only 3rd stolen from him, but also 4th if Ritzy can really send in a couple of good laps here on those medium tires. Watch that space. In the meantime, we go back to the battle for the lead, see if Cookie can pull anything out of a hat, or if Joe can get a time penalty right at the end and screw it all up. Callum109 saying, realistic looking good. Hope it's the same for F2, which I'm racing after this, despite being injured. Yes, Callum brings up a very good point. BRL F2 tier is going to be right after this. Actually, it's almost time for it. We won't even have time for the intermission show that I was planning. But in just 15 minutes, we'll be switching over to BRL Formula 2 tier, still at Bahrain. And that'll be very exciting as well. Season opener, of course. And we will not be turning off the stream and then on again, because I will be commentating that tier as well, so do not go anywhere. We will be there for that. It's the final lap. In the meantime, in this race, and in the realistic tier, Joe, our pole sitter, he added some challenges from Boss Cookie and from Taylor all race, but in the end it looks like he is going to assert his dominance. He's going to T-pose in that Mercedes W11, figuratively, of course. And he is on a collision course with the top step of the podium now. Only one sector left to go for the top two. And in the meantime, Ritzy Raccoon, let's see. Let's make the calculations here. Ooh, Mean Fern's actually gotten a decent gap on Taylor. I wonder if Taylor made a mistake. He's now 2.2 seconds ahead. That's not quite going to be enough to outrun the penalty, though. But it should be enough to outrun Ritzy. So, let's take a look at the results. As he comes down to the final corner, he endured plenty of challenges, but through speed, strategy, and some patience, he has won the Realistic 2 season opener. It's Joe F1 winning it for Mercedes. Boss Cookie in close tow in P2. What a valiant effort from him. A slower car holding the lead for most of that race. Really well done from him. Mean Fern is 3rd on track, but it's not quite going to be enough. Taylor's going to beat him by less than half a second overall. And Ritzy Raccoon's going to get pretty close as well. But in the end, only 5th place for him. And although Boss Cookie was technically best of the midfield, I will say ARS Science probably deserved the title of best of the rest, since Boss Cookie was just a cut above today, the rest of the Racing Point Ferrari and McLaren drivers. Science gets P6, and BRL Neymar will get P7. Looks like TTM Stenner had some troubles, because he was in P8, but now he's down to 11th, and he has a penalty. So unfortunate for him, McLaren will be locked out of the points today, but AlphaTauri will not. Neymar cruises to the finish in P7. His teammate Deer Hunter goes right by him after the line in 8th. Zizou's going to get 9th in the end, and BRL Ardell rounds out the points-paying positions for Renault. TTM Stenner just behind him, so close to points from McLaren in the season opener, but unfortunately not enough. And we'll go over the rest of the finishing order in just a moment. Again, don't go anywhere, folks, because we're going to have post-race podium interviews, then a small intermission, and then we'll be going straight into the BRL Formula 2 tier, which will be starting in less than 15 minutes at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Metal E Rocky 965 has followed the stream as of 2 minutes ago, so thank you so much for following. You are our 832nd follower, and we appreciate every single one of you that has hit that heart button so far. Make sure to do so if you haven't already. Anyway, Metal, if you want to make yourself known in chat, go right ahead. And that is the podium celebration. What an excellent start to the season. Wow. That was some really good racing. The fight went all the way to the end. We were really fortunate to have something like that. Ooh. Now then, your commentator will be taking a brief bathroom break. And then after that, post-race interviews with Joe F1, Boss Cookie, and Taylor Clan 2008. Now, okay, we are back. Just a brief technical difficulty with Lightstream and a bathroom break for me, and we are all good. It's time for podium interviews. We've already got Boss Cookie in the party. If you could tick your box, please, as we get Joe and Taylor in here.
Yep, my box ticked.
Awesome. And invite sent out to Joe. And it looks like Taylor's already left the session. All right, Joe's in. Tick your box, please, while we wait for Taylor. And if you're in the chat right now, if you're watching the stream, don't go anywhere or I will be very mad.